Hey guys, so this is kind of my welcome back me. um, I apologize if my camera's all shaky. I'm in this little cabin and pretty much the only space I have is the bed. So it's on the bed, so it's kind of shaking around. Anyway, um, so I have not shown, I've shown my face on Facebook and stuff, but I haven't done a video in a long time. Pretty much since I quit YouTubing and the podcast. Um, I was going through a very, very rough time in my life. One of the worst years and best years of my life. Um, so I am getting divorced. I am losing my home and my farm and a lot of other things. But I died. The old me died and the new me was reborn. And in letting her die, I let all the attachments die as well that I had before. And that meant I'm no longer attached to my marriage. I'm no longer attached to my home. I'm no longer attached to the meaning that I put on everything that I had. I'm no longer attached to my identities, my old identities. I'm no longer attached to outcomes. I'm no longer attached to the comfort that I had in my life. And that's really what it was I was holding on to comfort and familiarity. But in the past year, I had grown so much on my own that I knew I could no longer abandon myself anymore. And if I were to become the best version of myself, the version of myself that I was working towards, I had to let go of the past. I had to let go of everything that I had. And since then, so it was 2024 is a quantum leap year for me. We decided to get divorced on New Year's Eve. And then on New Year's Day, I felt myself die. I was on the ground and I was crying harder than I'd ever cried in my entire life. And I took a knife and I started cutting my arm. And I had that feeling a few times that past year. I had only cut myself once before, but I never understood what that meant. I didn't understand why people cut themselves. I thought that it was stupid. I thought that it was, I didn't understand what kind of mindset you have to be in to do that to yourself. And for me, I had gotten diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and PTSD. Because I could no longer live inside my head of all this craziness that was going on in my head. I had to figure out what was really going on. What was wrong in my brain where I could not function properly anymore. And learning that I had these issues, looking into what those all meant, I understood why I had cut myself this year. And it was 4 times. And I had never had these thoughts before. But I did not cut myself to bleed. I did not want to bleed. I did not want to kill myself. I didn't even really want to hurt myself. I just needed, I was so far away from myself. I was no longer in my body, and I needed to come back to my body. And I don't think you can really understand that unless you've gone through it. And it was just that I was so, like I said, I was so far away. I was no longer in the room. And I had to come back to myself. And the pain inside my mind, inside my soul, inside myself was so unbearable that I needed to feel a physical pain in order to dull the other pain that I was feeling because it was too unbearable. So those two reasons, I took a knife and I started sawing up the back of my arm. I still have some scarring from it because I didn't want to bleed. So I would go on the back of my arm. And so I'm very open about everything. I'm an open book. I will tell you everything. I don't tell this to you for attention. I don't tell it to you because I'm ashamed of it. I tell it because I want people to know that you're not alone if you're going through something like this. And I want to be a voice for people who are not heard. I want to share what I go through so that maybe you can understand a little bit more of what you're going through. So while I'm going through all of my experiences, I want you to know that I want you to hear how I get through it, because that way we can kind of get through it together. I've learned this past year that I care more for other people than I ever did. And it was in finding myself that I learned that I truly crave connections with other people. And that's what I aspire to do in my life, is to reach other people and help them become the best version of themselves, because that's why we're all here. We're all here to become the best versions of this incarnation of ourselves. Because the only thing we take with us after death is the lessons that we learn. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a really long video because I have so much to say. I've gone through so much this past year, and I'm ready to get back in front of the camera and share my life with you. So New Year's Day, 2024, I died. I was on the floor. I was crying. I was cutting myself. And there is nobody there to come and save me anymore. Jason was not there to save me. And in that moment, I learned that the only person that could save me was myself. So he was there. He offered to take me to the hospital, but I did not want to go to the hospital. But he was not there to hold me like he used to. And I realized that I had needed that, but that was my past self that needed that. My current self that I was being born into no longer needed somebody else to come and save me. And it's hard not having that, but it's something that I need to go through in order to learn to save myself. So after about 2 hours on the floor, dying, feeling like I literally felt like I was drowning, like I could not breathe. I was in so much pain that there was no more pain that could be felt. And then I was just still. For I don't know how long, it felt like hours, just on the floor, just still, not sleeping, not moving, barely breathing. And then I came out of that and I left the old me behind. She was nowhere to be seen. She was gone. I accepted that my marriage was over. I accepted that my old life was over. And I had to move on from that in order to become my highest self. In order to reach this new phase in my life, I had to let that go. And I did. It was the strongest moment of my life. It was the most vulnerable moment of my life. It was the most powerful moment of my life. It was all the emotions that you could ever feel in one moment. And it was powerful, and it was magical, and it was painful. And And I see death in a different way now, and I see death in many different forms. So there are your shamanic deaths, your spiritual deaths, and that is one that I went through that day. And there are also many births, many new births. And being reborn that day, I will never regret that experience that I went through, even though it was the most pain I ever felt. I will never regret it because I love the new me. I feel beautiful and powerful and magical. I've been working with the universe, with manifestation, and I've been manifesting things that I never dreamed possible. And I'm not alone. I have genuinely craved connection since then. I didn't want to just jump into like a new relationship where I had all the same issues I had in my past relationship. I wanted to, but I didn't want to like be alone in my apartment with my cats. And so I decided that I wanted to find genuine connection with people and find friends for the first time in my life. I never wanted friends before. This was the new me. The new me craved connections. And I sought them out. And through that, my life has forever changed. I decided to seek out people who were in the spiritual space like I was, who believed in the power of the universe, manifestation, and people who were into personal development, people who had the same interests as me, and I found them. And I had found them through my business. As an artist, I am an oddities artist. I create art through death. And that's a whole nother story that I might go through today. But like I said, this is already going to be really long. So I'm going to have a whole thing on why I create beauty from death, which is a really beautiful story. So yes, I create art with dead animals. And through that, that started my journey. I mean, my journey started years ago. If to be honest, it started, I mean, we go through a journey our entire lives. But like my personal development journey started about 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And then through that came homesteading and my business and the new me and the and spirituality and there's a whole thing that goes with that. Again, I'll go through that in another video about how my business has changed my life. But I met some people through my business who had bought stuff from me, and I have met so many amazing people through this journey. And I was telling my sister, like, this is a beautiful story. I was telling my sister 2 weeks before, it was like right when I was going through my divorce stuff, and I was telling her that I have decided that I want connections with people. And I want friendships, like real friendships for the first time in my life. And I said, I just want to sit in drum circles. And I didn't understand what a drum circle was. I just knew it was like a high vibe place. And so I met somebody, and like the second or third time we hung out, he came to one of my events that I was selling at, and he sat behind my booth with me, and we were talking, and a lot of people knew him, that came there, and that was surprising to me because he had never been there before. At least I don't think he had. I think he said he hadn't been to that one. But there was a woman that came up to the booth, and she recognized him, and she said that, I haven't seen you in the drum circle in a while. And I told him that I was just telling my sister that I want to sit in drum circles. And he said he'd take me to one. So the next week, we went to this drum circle, and I'm recently sober as well. So I have learned that I express myself through art, music, and dancing. Just expressing through the arts, any sort of art. And I didn't fully realize what that meant to me until the drum circle. And so here we are in this room, and we got there late, so everyone was already playing the drums. So I sit down, he grabs me a drum, I start like doing whatever, like figuring out the rhythm, and pretty soon I pick it up, and there's 3 women in the middle belly dancing. And I turned to him and I said, how do I get in on the dancing? He's like, just go in, do it. So I did. And at first I was like, I don't know, let's try to get into this. And I start really getting into it, and really letting myself flow, and just listening to my body and the drums, and I didn't feel judged because there were other belly dancers. I didn't feel nervous. I just felt fully in flow, and I let myself flow. And in the past, I used to dance on the bar at work all the time. I would get drunk and I'd dance on the bar, because dancing is a expression of mine. It makes me feel sexy. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel just good. But I was using it in a different way back then, and I didn't fully understand that. So while I was in this drum circle, I realized that I can still dance like this without alcohol. I don't have to get up on the bar and, act in a way that's not high vibe, like I can do this. I can dance just as sexy or sexier than I ever have, and feel empowered doing it instead of feeling disgusted with myself. And so later on in the drum circle, like, we go around and we sorry, we introduce ourselves, and we talk about what we felt during the session. And my turn came, and I said things that I didn't really know I was feeling until the moment. And I said, I'm recently sober, and I'm gonna cry. And I've been looking for ways to express myself, to let out my wild side without alcohol, to feel sexy again, to feel in my body again. And I almost cried while I was saying this, and I said that this is the first time I've ever been able to do that, to fully let myself feel my own body, feel truly alive, without having to numb myself through alcohol, without having to feel like I needed to hide a piece of myself. And the music from the drums and the energy from the beautiful people just made it feel so much more okay to be me, and to let myself be seen, and to see myself, and to love myself in that moment. In that moment, I fully loved myself. And I hadn't loved myself in a really, really long time. And so I decided I was going to go to drum circle more, probably every week or every other week, whenever the mood strikes. So I went again. I took my sister with me, and that second time was even more magical because I felt even more comfortable. And in that day, I sang while I did the drums. I sang Savage Daughter, and that song speaks to me in more ways than any other song has ever spoken to me. And now I'll share a video of me singing that, but it's extremely powerful. It's who I am at my core. It's my muse. I'll talk about my muse in another episode because I really want to fully embody her. And so I sang, and everybody else joined in. This woman started playing violin while I was singing, and everyone else was drumming. And we were all in it together. And then after I sang, I got up and I started belly dancing again. There was one other woman in the middle. And then she went back to playing the drums, so I was in the middle alone. And surrounded by all the people playing the drums, and I was in the middle, just fully letting myself loose, just shaking it like there was no tomorrow, just fully, just closing my eyes, feeling the music, feeling my body, and just being fully sexual and beautiful and free, with no shame, and nobody was judging me. We were all having this beautiful moment, and I got to be in the center, receiving all of it and giving myself to others, giving my energy and my talents, and sharing it with other people without shame. And there have been times when I felt that I shouldn't share my voice, or I shouldn't dance, because what are people going to think? They're thinking that I'm just doing this for attention. But I realized that it's not about that. I'm meant to have these talents for a reason. I have them because I'm meant to share them. And when I hide them out of shame, it makes me feel ashamed of myself. And I realized that I meant, like, through my art, when I started creating my art, and like, people respond so much to it, and I get so many people thanking me for my art, and I realized I was never meant to hide anything. I was never meant to hide anything. And so now I just fully, like, I just sing, and I talk to people about spirituality and life and art and love, and I dance, and I feel no shame in any of it. And anybody who wants to hear me sing, I will sing for you. Anybody who wants to see me dance, I will dance for you. Anybody who wants to learn about my art, I will show you. And through that, I also inspire other people to create art, to express themselves through themselves. I help other people let loose and dance and share their voice. And when I was younger, I did not talk to people because I was so afraid of rejection. So I didn't talk to people for almost my whole life. And it was much worse when I was younger. I could not say any words to anybody. Like, I was basically a mute. People thought that I couldn't speak. And so when I was home, I would watch sorry. I would watch Disney movies, and I would sing along. And I felt powerful when I would sing. because I was good at it. And that was the way that that I used my voice. I used my voice through song, and I carried that with me my entire life. The frogs are getting really loud out there. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know if I should shut the window or not. Oh, let's let the frogs in. They're invited to this moment. I love frogs. What was I saying? So I used singing as a way to use my voice to, because I didn't know how to talk to people, and so I've been singing since I could talk, and it's become therapeutic for me. It's become one of the biggest expressions of my being. And it wasn't until I went to drum circle and started singing and dancing that I learned that I am meant to express, and that is a part of my healing and a part of helping other people heal. So through my talents, through my expression, through my dancing, through my singing, and through my art, I can help other people. And I didn't understand what that meant before until I was creating art. And I did help other people in a way that I had never imagined. And through my own healing, I heal other people as well. And so through my divorce and through my death and my rebirth, I decided that I was going to travel the world because that was something that was really important to me. And now I am. I always wanted to see Pennsylvania. I am in Pennsylvania right now. So I've been traveling for business because I wanted to make money while I was traveling. So I went to Florida in February, I think it was February, for the World Oddities Expo. I did really well there, and I swam with wild manatees. I went snorkeling with turtles. I had a sorry, I had been sick for like 3 months. I had a spiritual awakening in this glamping tent that I was staying at. Just so many things, and I came back a new person, and I will come back from this Pennsylvania trip a new person. And I went to the same place, the World Oddities Expo. Also did very well there. I actually met these people from Maryland. So I'm in Pennsylvania right now. I'm from Wisconsin. Went here to Pennsylvania. These people came to the Oddities Expo from Maryland. They saw my booth. They came over and they said, I think I bought something from you. Like, she had looked at my coyote hearts. I make these mummified coyote hearts in glass domes, and she said, that looks exactly like the heart that my husband bought me for Valentine's Day. And I said, it probably is, because I don't see other people making these. She said, it looks exactly like this, and he bought it online through this oddities website, or this Facebook oddities group. And I said it was probably mine, because I do sell, like, I started selling them right before Valentine's Day. And I told them I'm from Wisconsin, and they're like, yep, it was you. So I've only been doing this for a year and a half, and I'm already traveling the world and meeting people from across the United States, across the country, who have bought from me before, who have never met me, who have bought from me before. And it was such a beautiful moment. It was so incredible. I'm like, this is mind-blowing. She said it was her favorite thing in the world, and I had no idea I'd be helping people through my art by, like, giving them joy. It's crazy. And I can see my success, and I can see the world around me changing because I'm changing. So not only am I traveling the US for business, I am also going out of the country for the first time this year, and I'm going to England. And next year I'm going to go to Egypt and Peru. And I'm going to go to Alaska to see the Northern Lights. I'm going to go to the Maldives to dance in the Sea of Stars. I'm going to go to Transylvania. I'm just going everywhere. I'm traveling the world, and it's so mind-blowing to me because I had no idea I'd be doing this right now. I thought this was like a future thing that was going to happen, but it's happening now because I chose for it to happen now. And through my travels, I learn healing. And so last night I had, or not last night, the night before last night, I was at a different site closer to Philadelphia where the expo was. And so I was staying at another glamping tent, and it was at somebody's farm. And they invited me inside for dinner. And so I went inside for dinner, and they said they don't normally do that. And I don't know what made them invite me inside. I think it was just the vibe, the connection of two people meeting each other. And the man was from Israel, and his wife was from France. And they had this beautiful little family. Their daughter came up to me and brought me all these baby chicks, and she's showing me all the baby chicks. And their cousin, or their brother, I don't know if it was his brother or his cousin, was visiting from Israel, and he was there. And they asked me if I wanted to go in their sweat lodge. And I was like, of course, that'd be really cool. So we had dinner. I thanked them for the dinner, and we went out to the sweat lodge. Well, we went out to this teepee. There's a big teepee, and that's where we warmed the stones to go in the sweat lodge. I'd never done a sweat lodge before, so this was really exciting. So we warmed the stones in the teepee in this fire, and while the stones are warming, everybody comes in. The children weren't there. They went to bed because it was like midnight at that time. And so we're sitting in a circle around the fire inside the teepee, and the man says, let's go around in a circle and say what we are grateful for. And so he wanted me to start. I said, today I'm grateful for the success of my business and travel and being here with you guys, and learning to love myself through my journeys. And then we go around, and they say that they're like, he expresses his love for his wife, and it was beautiful, and their love for their little farm, and being able to bring people together like that. And so then he says like somebody can sing a song, or we can do whatever. So I was like, I can sing. So I sing Savage Daughter again. And again, I have felt no shame of being like, I want to sing because it will bring joy to this moment. And it did. And we all had a beautiful moment together as I sang. And then the stones were ready, so we went into the sweat lodge. So they had just built this sweat lodge, and they had built some in the past, but at this property was the first time they built it. So I got to go in there for the first ever use of that sweat lodge. So we go in there, we bring the stones in, the hot stones in, we drop them into this big hole in the ground. So it's like a little igloo type of thing, made from like tarps and stuff. So we go in there, and they take a pitcher of water and drop some lavender essential oil in it, and pour that over the hot stones, and then it creates the steam. with the essential oils, and then we're all just like sitting there in the steam, just letting it come in, just breathing in the lavender and eucalyptus oil, and it was such a cleansing, healing experience. And I was like, all right, I need to build myself a sweat lodge now. and and I thanked them. It was about 1 a.m. I went back to my tent, and in the morning I had to get up for the expo at around 6 a.m. So I got up, and I packed up and I started driving away, and I was like, don't leave without leaving a gift. So I drive back, and I took some rabbit foot keychains out of the back of my car. I wrote a note for them, thanking them for their hospitality. I said, I wish you all the success in your journey, and here are some keychains for you, and I hope that they bring you luck. And I left my business card and these keychains for them. And I thought to myself, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful moment for myself, because I never before would have done something like that. But I'm becoming a more loving person, and I just want to spread joy and love to the world. And so I find more beauty in myself, and through that I find more self-love. And so I went to the expo, had an amazing time, had a great sales day. I had an exact manifestation. I was like, if I sell one more weasel heart, I will reach my goal. I will reach my money goal today. 3 minutes later, I sold a weasel heart, and I made the exact manifestation of my goal. So that was awesome. I also did an exact manifestation a few weeks ago at an event where I made a goal for the day, money goal for the day, and manifested exactly that amount. So I've been getting better at manifestation because I'm allowing these things to come from the universe, and it's so magical and beautiful. And so then after the expo, I drove 5 more hours to here in another part of Pennsylvania, and I've always wanted to see Pennsylvania, and that's why I came, and it did not disappoint. It is the most beautiful place I've ever been. The architecture alone, with the old stone buildings, like I always said, I want to be somewhere with old stone buildings, which is also why I'm going to England. But also the landscape, the trees, the rolling hills, the lush green. Everybody has a farm. Everybody lives in a fairy tale cottage. It is so beautiful, and I feel like Pennsylvania is definitely calling me home. Like, I wanted to come out east, like east was calling me, because I've lived in the Midwest my whole life, and it just never felt like home to me. And like we traveled all over the West, and that was definitely not home to me. That was so foreign, so not my thing. But I've never been out east, but something about the east has called me. So I think I'm gonna visit Pennsylvania again this summer/fall, and then also visit Virginia, because that's another one on my list. And this time it'll just be for travel. I won't be traveling for business. I mean, maybe I'll find something that I can do in Pennsylvania or Virginia in the fall. I also want to visit Salem, Massachusetts, so maybe I'll do kind of like a big loop. But yeah, just being here in Pennsylvania, it's like I feel like I found my home. Like, this is where I want to build my paradise. And I have this vision of a paradise that I'm going to build, but that'll be another episode, and I will talk about that. But my life has completely done a 180. It's just so profound and so beautiful. And I also, it's not only I don't only just find beauty in the wonderful, beautiful things that are happening, but I also feel beauty in the pain. And I let in the pain. And I learn from it instead of pushing it down anymore. And yes, it is very painful, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at learning from it. So I take every good or bad thing that happens to me now, and I see a lesson in it. And I ask myself, what did I learn from this? How has this helped me? And through that, I no longer feel any shame. I no longer feel, I just don't, it doesn't cripple me anymore. Anything bad, it just doesn't cripple me. I don't hold on to any expectations. I don't hold on to any outcomes. I've detached myself from the crippling anxiety and fears. And that's another thing, is like, I am learning to get uncomfortable, and through the uncomfort I grow so much faster and more. And it comes from like doing one thing that scares you every day. Just do something that scares you and you will grow. And so I decided that I'm going to learn how to paramotor. I'm going to go flying in the sky, because the sky is the place that I meditate. I always meditate under an open sky, whether it's under a brewing storm or under the stars and the full moon, or any moon, or under like the fluffy clouds. The sky is, it's where I feel most at peace. So I was like, well, if I feel most at peace under the sky, imagine what I'm going to feel in the sky. So I'm afraid of heights, but I have a much more beautiful relationship with death now, that I'm not so afraid of death, that it's not crippling me anymore. So I'm going to fly. That's something that's on the list. I'm going to learn how to fly, and I'm going to go up in the sky and take my GoPro with me and talk about life and share it with you guys while I'm in the sky. And it's going to be so beautiful. And I'm learning that I'm doing everything that I say I'm going to do now. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I go out and I fucking do it. I said I was going to go to Pennsylvania, here I am. I said I was going to go to Florida, there I was. I said I was going to start a business, I did. I said I was going to get divorced, I did. I said I was going to learn to love myself, and I am. And yes, I still struggle a lot, but it's not crippling me anymore. And I'm learning to find the lessons through the pain. And even today, I was feeling very depressed, and I said to myself, let it in. Like, don't just say you should be happy because you're here in this amazing place, and like, you just did amazing at the event, and like, why are you sad? No, I let it in. I let it in, and I said, this is for you, and there's a lesson in this. So let yourself feel it. Ask yourself, why do I feel depressed right now? But not in a way of like, oh, why am I depressed? I shouldn't be depressed. But like, fully be inquisitive towards yourself. What is bringing up these feelings? Why do I feel this way? And then you will find the answers if you're open to it. And I started video journaling when I was in Florida. I had the spiritual awakening in my tent where the universe, I asked the universe for downloads, and she did not disappoint. And she told me to film myself. Well, first she told me to film myself while I was, so I stripped down naked, and I started dancing in my tent, and I asked the universe, send me downloads, like, send me what I need to know right now. And she said, film yourself. So I was like, okay. So I did. And part of that experience was to show me that I am beautiful. So the universe wanted me to know you are beautiful. So look at yourself, fully nude, dancing, feeling your body, being in your body. Look at yourself and know that you are beautiful. So that was the first lesson I learned through that. And then the second lesson was earlier that day, I was thinking that I wanted to start journaling again. But my thoughts go so fast, I can't put them all down on paper. And then my hands start cramping up, and then I can't finish my thoughts. Um, so then I, so then while I was filming myself in my tent, I just started talking. And I talked for about 2 hours, receiving download after download from the universe, and realized that she had just given me another gift. And the gift was, instead of trying to journal in a traditional way, start video journaling. And so I started video journaling every single day since then, and just talking about what's on my mind, whether it's something painful or something beautiful or something mundane, just anything. And I have learned so much and grown so much from it. And it's beautiful. And so I talk like this to myself on my phone. And I decided I'm ready to start sharing it with other people. So this would have been like a video journal of myself, like for myself. But now I'm ready to share it. So you're in on my journey now. And I'm letting you in, and I invite you. And I'm grateful that you're here and you're listening, because I have a lot to share. And I finally found my voice, and I'm ready to use it, and I'm ready to share it, and I'm ready to have the time of my life. And I hope that you find the joy in your life, and the self-love, and the lessons from the pain. And I hope that I can help you with all of that. Because I was just going to say, I wish somebody had helped me, but they did, through podcasts. I started listening to podcasts about 3 years ago, and they changed my life. They got me to start my business. They got me to stop hating myself all the time. They got me to think in a different way. And so I started my own podcast, but I was trying to copy other people. And so this is going to be my new podcast. It's going to be a video podcast, because that just resonates with me more. And it's going to be on my YouTube channel and Facebook and wherever else I decide to put it. And so I'm happy to be podcasting again and sharing my life with you again. And I won't just be sharing my podcast, my video podcast, but I'll also be sharing my art and my process and my travels and everything else that I do, my voice, my dancing. I will share my full expression of myself to you, and I invite you on my journey with me. And so if you haven't noticed, I have changed this channel from the homestead adventure to Odessa's journey. Odessa is my highest self. She is my muse. She is primal. She is, I will explain Odessa in another episode. But I recently met her, and she's changed my life. And I plan to fully embody her. And so I don't know if I'm going to start referring to myself as Odessa. I'll just let it flow. I am in this place of just letting things flow now, and my life has never been more interesting through that. So welcome to Odessa's journey. I hope to see you however much I'm here. I hope to be here a lot now, because since I show up on camera every day anyway now, why not share it? It's going to be a beautiful journey, and thank you for being here for it. Thank you for all your support, and I support you in whatever you do. I love you, each and every one of you are beautiful souls, and we got this. Let's kick some ass in life and be the best fucking versions of ourselves that could ever exist. And we will change the world together. I have so much more to say, but I've got my whole life to share it, so I want to share everything. I'm going to share it with you. And this is already 50 minutes long, so welcome back, me, and welcome back, you. Welcome back, everybody. I'm excited. Love you. Thank you. Okay, bye.